Hello from Get in the Garage. I am here today to show you guys how to do an oil change on a 2005 Subaru Impreza WRX STi. Her name is Sassy, so you'll hear me reference Sass a few times throughout the video. I plan to put a lot of information in the description, so if you are looking for a specific oil type or a mount guide, that'll be in the description, as well as the jacks I use, the jack stands, the tool set. There's also an oil change kit that you can buy at most parts stores nowadays. I found you guys a website on drain plug locations, so that'll be linked in the description. You should be able to just plug in your vehicle and it should show you diagrams and pictures of where your oil drain plug will be. Also, if you've ever lost your owner's manual guide, or you know someone that's misplaced their owner's manual guide, they're really great to have because they tell you exactly what kind of oil you'll need for your car, as well as how much you'll need for your car, so you can do your oil changes or any other fluid changes confidently, knowing you're using the right fluid and using the right amount. Business inquiries can be made by email. My Beacons link will be also in the description. If you want to try to message me on Get in the Garage Instagram, I also message back there sometimes. And also, if you just want to chat, like I said, Discord or my personal Sassy the GD STi Instagram. All the links will be below. I hope you enjoy the video. And again, thanks for checking it out. Alright, first things first, you gotta pop the hood. Alright, so you got your low profile jack and your regular guy. Your socket set with all of the things. We're only gonna need this guy and probably this guy or this guy. You got oil. Super specific. Our oil filter, crush washer for the drain plug. So we're gonna pull this up. Usually we would check our oil, but we already know we need oil. Take the cap off. Relieve any pressure in the system so we can add it later, and this always makes it so I remember to put the oil in. Usually like stick it like right here, you know, because you can't close the hood with that right there. So you want to jack the car up by what's called the pinch weld. If it's a car that has one, which a Subaru, most Subarus have them, all Subarus have them. So you don't want to jack up on the plastic part, which is what I'm feeling on there. You want to jack up on the metal part, so yep, that's where my hand is. The metal part right behind the skirt. You want to get your jack positioned there. So, not all cars have pinch welds. We can talk about that in future videos, and I can demonstrate what it's like to jack up a car that has a frame instead of a unibody, and what those differences are. If you ever want to know, just feel free to DM me. This specific jack requires you to turn the handle right to jack up the vehicle. Every jack's going to be different on how many pumps it takes, but I always like to start to give it a check as the car starts to lift up. And I definitely needed some assistance. Don't be afraid to get assistance. So we're going to use a jack stand because you always want a precautionary. Always want a little back up on it. I don't think it's high enough. Oh wait, will it fit on the back? No. not high enough for precautionary.
We have the cinder blocks.
We got cinder blocks.
Blocks right there.
Blocks. So if you're like me, you like to have 2 measures of preventative for jackage. Alright, so 2 key components. We got this, 14 flutes. I like to go by flutes because it's more funnier and fun to say. But this fits right on our oil filter. So a good way to check your filter with your oil filter cup is to put it right on top of the filter. And if you don't feel comfortable doing this, just ask an associate at the store. 9 times out of 10, they're more than happy to get you the appropriate cup for your filter. And then this is very important too. You don't want your oil going all over the floor. Next, you want to go under the car and determine what your drain bolt size is, where your oil pan is, which mine's right here, and the drain bolt is over there. So we have to get over there. So we got our oil filter right here, our drain plug is right here. And it fits. So now we get our ratchet on there and get that bitch off. What angle did I do this at before that like I could actually do it? Question remains. I definitely struggled to get that drain plug off. I definitely recommend a longer ratchet or some leverage if you can, or just some assistance. The oil filter, of course, came off like butter. That was nothing. Those should only be hand tightened on anyways. So, yeah, that bitch came right off. And you want to loosen your oil filter just a little bit, then do your drain plug, then take the oil filter off. There we go. If your drain plug for whatever reason starts to stop and it doesn't move, put it back in and try again. Because if it's been in there for a while, you don't want to strip it. And mine's just an old plug, so it gave me a little trouble coming out.
Have to get a microfiber and clean it off. Have to get a microfiber and clean it off.
Once I got everything loosened, it was smooth sailing from there. The filter came right off because it was already loosened. The drain plug came right out. I lost it to the bucket. That's another story. Had to fish it out of the bucket. But yeah, everything else came off. Made little to no mess. Definitely recommend some gloves if you have some.
Wow.
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 Yeah. Alright, so she is draining. Can I flip this? No, I can't flip this. Come here, babe. She draining. Almost done.
Usually drains quick. Plus she's doing high elevation.
I did not do this in heels and a dress because it is still winter. We are not yet at spring. I did do some pigtails though. Also, shout out to my assistant for assisting me. He is more than capable of doing this oil change, but let me have my woman power, which is so respectable. He even cleaned off my plug for me. While everything is draining, it's a good time to clean off your plug, take off the old crush washer, and replace with a new crush washer. Most of the time your oil filter is going to look like this. If not, it'll be a cartridge filter, and we'll talk about that another time. But for now, these metal filters, they have a rubber ring around the outside. You want to make sure to put some new or old oil around that rubber gasket to quote-unquote lube it as you put it back. Alright, so we're going back under the car. We are going to put the lubed oil filter back on. I usually turn things left until they seat, and then you can turn it right. And oil filters are just meant to be hand tightened, so there's that. And then the ratchet will usually do most of the work on tightening your drain plug for you. Usually it'll stop once the crush washer is crushed. So what I mean by seat is turn a bolt left on a hole and you'll feel it literally seat into the threads, and you'll be able to turn it right with no issues. It should just thread right into the threads. And everything will be hand tight for the most part. Are you getting this? Give her a little wipey wipe so that way we don't smell a ton of oil when we start her up. And now the best part, we put oil in her. We can also unjack her. So.
Make sure there's nothing underneath there.
This is why I say I use this as a backup jack, because it leaks oil. I recommend reading all of your instruction manuals and warranty manuals regarding your jack and tool purchases. I had to warranty this backup jack because it's leaking oil. But this red one here is my low profile jack, and it's been pretty good to me. I just try to keep it out of the weather, and it fits nice under my car. She literally got both tires off the ground. That's an all-wheel drive thing. But yeah, she's almost back on the ground. Adding oil to my car takes for absolute ever. The oil is super thick. It's 540. And yeah, I had to speed up a lot of this video because it just took like 5 minutes to get all of the oil to go in it. And I'm also pretty sure that's why we couldn't get an accurate oil reading, but that's a whole other story, and that's okay. Like I said, this just took so long, so I sped it up. Definitely keep a rag nearby for when you remove the funnel, so that way you don't drip oil everywhere. And I definitely recommend keeping rags on hand to check your oil afterwards. Take the dipstick out and be a dipstick for a moment. Be one with the dipstick. Let it give us an accurate reading. So mine has a couple holes on it and a little L and an F. So the F on here stands for full and the L is for low. And if it's at the L, then I should probably add a quart of oil to it. Your oil isn't always going to read right after you added it. Sometimes you will have to start your vehicle and run it for a few minutes before it reads on the dipstick. So that's why it's important to know exactly how much oil you are supposed to put in. We're gonna start her and then we're gonna check her. She started up nice and happy. Take note of your mileage. If you're using conventional oil, you should do every 3,000, so it'll be 163. And if it's synthetic, you want to do every 6,000, or whatever your manual says. Sassy's old, she's a race car, and she runs pretty much conventional oil, so every 3,000 for her. So we'll try again, check the oil, started her. She should be more content now, but we shall see. For 4.5 quarts of oil, you'd figure she'd be content. I had put all of the oil required, which was 5 quarts. I tightened the drain plug exactly what it needed to be tightened to, which some cars will require a torque. Most don't, just tighten it until it pretty much stops. The filter was hand tightened. I checked the oil quite a few times, but it just, for whatever reason, wasn't reading properly on my dipstick. I appreciate you stopping in and watching our video on Sassy's oil change. If y'all ever have any questions on how to do an oil change, I answer all DMs on Discord. My Discord server link will be in the description of this video. Feel free to join, feel free to say hi. I answer business inquiries on the Get in the Garage Instagram and personal inquiries on the Sassy the GD STi Instagram. But yeah, I'd say she's gonna go. We're gonna go test drive her.